All right, what's going on, everybody? Whenever you tune in to this, I'm just gonna share a couple of thoughts with y'all. On As you can see from the title, I want to talk about belief systems. I want to talk about belief. I want to talk about denial, and of course, as you can also see, I'm gonna be talking about COVID-19 and the coronavirus. Now, off top, I don't want y'all to think this is clickbait because I did put coronavirus conspiracy in the title because I want to cover some of the conspiracies that are going around concerning coronavirus. I want to tell you up front and top, I do not think it's fake. I believe this is a real global pandemic and we need to move carefully. But I want to explain why so many people are in the denial about it, why so many people are having so much trouble staying inside, educating themselves about it, why people are instead gravitating towards the conspiracies. And so much of it has to do with belief systems. Now, I was raised in the church, in a Baptist church. I went to a Christian elementary. I went to a Catholic high school. In college, I was blessed to take a class on mythologies and ancient religions. And so I have a real wide range of information on the topic of belief systems, of faith. And when we talk about faith, faith is, and don't worry, I'm not about to preach to you or try to convert you. In fact, you're probably going to appreciate what I'm getting ready to share. Faith is defined as the evidence. It is belief in the unseen. It is the evidence of substance unseen. And I may have messed it up a little bit, but you know the main part of that is the faith that a person who believes in God, for example, or a creator, they don't have to see God to believe in God. They have faith that God exists. And what people who believe in God do is they look for evidence that tells them, yeah, that's right. This happens or that tells me God is real. This is how faith works and belief works. On the same note, a person who is agnostic, a person who is atheist, they look for evidence that affirms their belief systems. So, for example, an atheist, someone who does not believe in God, may say something like, when they look at 9/11, they say, if there was a God, why would God allow so many people to die? This is a common belief system of atheists. They believe in their minds that God is somehow going to stop death, that no one's going to die until they get to 80 or 90 years old, and everyone's going to die of natural causes. They may look at what happened to Kobe Bryant and Gigi, which rest in peace, man. That hurt me, hurt lots of people here in LA. But some atheists will look at that and say, how could there be a God? Kobe had so much life to live. Gigi didn't get a chance to grow up. The other people that died on that helicopter didn't get an opportunity to live their lives. And you can, if you are a Christian or a believer, you can sit an atheist down and explain to them that that's not how God works, that God does allow rain to fall on the just and the unjust alike, that God allows for free will. He allows for things to happen. There's a purpose to things that happen. We may not always understand the things that happen. And all of these conversations that we may understand as believers, a person who is not a believer will not understand it. They will not grasp it. They won't just all of a sudden start believing in God because you sat down and broke down how God works. Whereas a person who has been raised in the church, someone who's been raised or taught to believe, if you're to break these things down to one of them, they're going to say, oh, okay, I understand now. Now that makes sense. Because faith says, I believe in God. And then when you get some evidence, some substance, some explanation, It's what you look to affirm your belief. I'm getting somewhere here with this. Again, I'm not preaching. I'm just going to talk to y'all, right? And I'm not here to say that an atheist is right or a Christian is right. What I am saying is that belief systems drive how people move. You look for evidence that affirms your belief. Look, we talk about in network marketing and business, we talk about mindset, how we get what we look for. We talk about attraction marketing. We talk about attracting things into our lives, which is all based on belief systems. If you believe you're going to be successful, you're going to look for the evidence that you're going to succeed. You're going to look for the evidence that the opportunity is going to work out for you because you believe it's going to work out. If you don't believe, every little thing that happens is going to tell you, oh, see, I knew I was going to fail. I knew this wasn't going to work out for me. I knew I could never be successful because you didn't believe that you could succeed. You believed in failure. And again, who's right? Right? Is it the person who believes in failure, the person who believes in success? The reality is belief is strong. And so when we talk about COVID-19, we talk about coronavirus, there are people who do not want to believe that this thing is real. And that denial has caused them to look for evidence that it's not real. Even now, where we're on the doorstep of 40,000 people here in America losing loved ones. In just the last 60 days, there are still people who do not believe. There has been over 100,000 people taken in the last 3 months worldwide. And a lot of people still don't believe. They see the bodies, they see the coffins, they see hospitals overrun. And instead of saying, okay, I think something's going on here, a lot of people are saying, I don't know. I think it's 5G. I think people are being diagnosed with COVID-19 who didn't have COVID-19. People are saying, oh, but look at the folks dying from car accidents. Look at all the people dying from heart disease and all these various things that people do die from all the time and often in great numbers. But again, I can sit here and explain to you that people dying in car accidents isn't contagious. I'm not going to necessarily die in a car accident because 100,000 other people died in a car accident. Not necessarily. Again, God willing, right? Just because 100,000 people die from heart failure doesn't mean, again, God willing, that I'm going to die from heart failure. I'm not going to go out to the store tomorrow, bump into somebody who has heart problems, and all of a sudden I'm going to have heart problems. That's not how that works. And no matter how logical that sounds, no matter how logical it is, a person who doesn't want to believe that a contagion is real, they're just not going to believe it. They're going to look for anything that affirms their belief system that it's not real. People do this, with politics. People do this with sports teams. Look, I'm not gonna name folks. I actually have some family members that are Houston Rockets fans. I love y'all. If y'all see this, I love y'all. But y'all gotta fire D'Antoni. He's a terrible coach. We had him here at the Lakers. He's trash. I blame him for injuring Kobe. I'm sticking to my guns. He messes up things, and yet a lot of my family members who I said that to told me, nah, he's fine. He's going to do just fine. And I don't blame them. They're sticking with their team. They're rooting for their team. But this is what I'm talking about. This is the belief system. They're going to look for the evidence that tells them D'Antoni's that man. No matter what I say, it doesn't matter. Because they have a belief system in their team, in their organization, in their coach. I respect it. I really do. That's how you do it. Look, I'm a Laker fan. When we didn't have LeBron and AD. I was out here believing that little team was gonna go somewhere, and they didn't. They were sorry, they lost all kind of games, didn't make the playoffs. But early in the season, I believed, and I looked for any evidence that told me, "Oh, this team gonna be all right." Knowing, even if the back of my mind, we really ain't got no talent. These kids are young. Then we signed Bron. We still had no help for him. And again, I said, okay, look, I'm really not even the biggest Bron fan, but he's taken our team to another level already. And we were playing good. And then he gets hurt around Christmas time, and we went downhill from there. But again, this is what I'm saying. Sometimes that belief system makes you gravitate towards things that may not even be logical. It's emotional. And I was in the denial that my team wasn't gonna make it to the playoffs. Even after Brian got hurt, I felt like, okay, we still got a lot of young talent. So when a young lady makes a video with a mask on saying, look, y'all, I went to the doctor. They diagnosed me with COVID-19. I ain't even take no tests. A person who doesn't believe this is real is going to look at that video, regardless of who that woman is, not looking into any of her credentials. No evidence to really prove it. No logical research, no logical deduction of facts. It's all about feeling. It's about, I want this to be true, so I'm gonna believe it, because that's how belief works. When the young lady who wasn't a doctor made a video wearing a Ross button-up and a shower cap, people wanted to believe her because they already have that belief that this ain't real. When some people who I respected, and it's been frustrating, some influencers get out here and say this is really 5G that's causing this. They just want to have y'all home so they can install 5G. They just want to take our rights away. That's why just yesterday in Huntington Beach, California, just down the street from me, up the road, I should say, hundreds of people were out marching for their rights because they believe their rights are being infringed upon. They look at stay-at-home orders as an infringement of their rights. They look at the 98% recovery rate and say, I'm gonna be fine. This ain't gonna hurt me. And they look for any little thing they can find to fuel that belief system that they're going to be okay, that this isn't the big threat that others say it is. It's a shame. There's herd immunity. We don't know if that's going to work with COVID. We have no idea. There's no evidence of these things. Now, I'm going to be honest and tell you, I'm not pro vaccine. I'm very aware of the Tuskegee experiment. I'm very aware of a lot of the science that says that a lot of the autism in our nation is caused by these vaccines. I'm not a fan of vaccines. I've been saying since this thing broke out, I wish people would stay home for 2 to 3 weeks. And I know some people can't, but there's a bunch of people who can, that continue to go out and continue to get infected and continue to spread it. But I was hoping we could all stay home for a couple weeks, isolate the issue, and then we could get back to our lives, because we would have isolated it. We would have got it away from the public. Then it would naturally die out on its own. The people who got sick and passed away, again, unfortunate, they would have passed. The ones who got sick and survived, they would have got through it and survived. But everybody else, again, would not continue to catch it from them. And once it dies out, it would have been gone. But that's too simple. It's too simple. That makes too much sense. And belief systems are not about logic and sense. Again, if you're an atheist, you hear a Christian talking, and none of that makes sense to you. It doesn't sound logical to you, and I get that, right? See, I'm personally, I'm not a Christian. I'm spiritual. I believe in God. I believe in a higher power. I believe in a creator. But I don't necessarily believe that the doctrine is all the way 100% because I'm too educated. It just hurts. I've heard too much. I know about the Council of Nicaea. Again, I've studied ancient religions and mythologies, and what it tells me is that there's a lot of ancient wisdom in that book. There are a lot of stories that have been changed around, that have been translated, and there's a lot of meaning that we still don't understand as human beings. There's so much more to our story that I don't think we really get here on Earth. But none of what I've learned tells me there's no creator. Okay? There very well could be a creator or multiple creators. There could be a spiritual realm. There's a lot that I just don't know. But I believe because I've seen things. Again, that's that faith. I've seen things that underline my belief system that I've been raised on and taught throughout the years from ancestors who have gone on. And maybe they now live in a spiritual realm, and that realm may interact with ours. Like there's so much that I'm not going to go into here, but all of that sounds crazy to an atheist, and I get it. Just as atheist beliefs often sound crazy to believers. And I'm sort of making this in a cathartic way because I've been trying to deal with this myself. Trying not to insult the people who I feel aren't acting intelligently during a global pandemic, but trying to grasp an understanding of why this is. Why are there people holding signs about "you're not taking my rights away" in Michigan and Ohio and all these areas around the nation? Why is Florida opening up their beaches? Why is Texas talking about opening up their economy? All these things don't really make sense to me. Because my education says that the Spanish flu of 1918 was a real thing. That the Black Plague was a real thing. My education tells me that we really can't eat everything. That, yeah, it's very possible that someone did catch this virus from eating the wrong thing in China. And that because we now have a global system where people can fly all over, it's very possible that a person got infected, spread the infection in China. Somebody visiting China flew back to the USA, and started spreading it here. Especially with all the things that they say, the 2-week incubation time, just all these things make sense. So when folks say stuff like "I don't have it" or you don't have it, we're not testing for it. We don't know who has it. So it's a lot of uncertainty, and so with all that uncertainty, to me, it doesn't make sense the way some people are acting, the way some people are talking. But as I sit here and think about it, that's why I had to turn this video recorder on and share this, because I know I'm not alone here. In trying to understand the other person, it's belief systems, it's denial based on those belief systems. It's gravitating towards what makes them feel like their belief is correct. And I understand that. Yeah, I understand that. I get why a person would look at these theories that haven't been proven and say, okay, yeah, that makes sense to me, because they already believe it. They already doubt it. They already think this is some BS. So anything that affirms that is going to resonate with them, just as with an atheist who doesn't believe in God and suddenly a loved one dies of cancer at an early age. And they say to themselves, can't be a God if my loved one died. You know, very tragic accident happened, few months ago. And this happens, almost every day in America. Someone dies of gun violence. And people say, oh, how could my friend be taken so soon? If there was a God, this wouldn't have happened. And, again, that may sound crazy to a believer, but to an atheist, that makes total sense. And I get that. Same way I get the people who aren't understanding this. So, look, I share all that because it's on my mind. Hopefully, it helps somebody else. Hopefully, we all get through this thing, right? This thing is serious. And I'm not going to get into my political beliefs right now. But if you follow my channel for a while, I've always addressed one of the biggest problems in our nation, in our society, and that's racism. I believe racism has so much to do with the selecting of the current administration, because there was a promise to return things to how they used to be. And every single one of us know how things used to be here in America. So they can use all the code words in the world. Because, racism isn't just using the N-word. Racism is voting against policies that may benefit others, especially blacks. I've talked about racism in business on this channel, so these aren't new topics for my followers. These aren't foreign concepts to you, because I address this stuff all the time. And I'm a believer in network marketing. I love the business model. I don't always like the companies. I'm not always a fan of the people in network marketing. 2016, for example, showed me there's a bunch of racist people in network marketing. I thought there were, but it confirmed it. A bunch of people came out with their magas on when, bunch of them, black and white alike, because that's the realities of racism. There are black people that don't like themselves, that think that they can get more by lining up with the other team. They're not worried about the black community. They're looking out for themselves. You think about a Diamond and Silk, they don't care about how the black community does. They want to make sure that they got a check. Right? That's how that type of mindset works. Right? So that's a big issue with why we aren't getting larger checks than $1,200 from our government, because we have a society that wants to oppress and keep some down, and the default of that is it hurts everybody. It's stupid. Racism is stupid. If we were smarter, we would have built a better society. Minimum wage would have been higher. More people would get some type of assistance. We would spend less money on war and more on education. There's so much wrong with our society right now as it is, and all it took is for a global pandemic to break out to expose all of the things that are wrong. And again, you go back through my channel. I've been telling y'all this for 10 years now, that corporate America is the enemy of the people. That the Matrix is talking about the war between man and machines. But who are the machines? The machines are corporate America. It's the rich ruler class and the systems they've built to keep man under control. And sometimes those systems are systems of racism, systems of hate. Again, just as I got through talking about belief systems, if you really believe that skin color accounts for differences in character, intelligence, abilities, etc., any little thing you find is going to support your belief system because you already think that way, right? Um, you don't believe that police can arrest black people peacefully because you've seen black on black crime, right? That helps your belief system that it's the right thing to do for a police officer to protect them themselves. They got to go home to their families. Never mind all the examples of them bringing in others peacefully, you know, because that's again, all of this is about belief. It's about the denial. What makes a person believe one thing and not something else? How people look for evidence to confirm what they're already thinking, and this happens again in MLM as well. If you don't believe you can make money in this kind of business model, you're going to look for all the evidence that tells you that this is a scam, it's a pyramid, it's this, it's that. And it's the same with corporate America. If you really and truly believe that's a better option for you, you're going to look for all the evidence that tells you, yeah, that's right. Security, safety, da, da, da. But then a global pandemic hits and you get laid off. Now, you don't want to believe that you got laid off because there's a real virus going around. You want to believe there's something else. And so this stuff is complicated because we are talking about emotions. We are talking about things that aren't always logical. And so again, all of us, we have to navigate through these waters and try to understand one another while we're in them. And with that being said, I want to thank you for your time. If you're new to my channel, subscribe, like this video, share it with someone else. Leave a comment. Let's talk about it in the comment section. Be respectful, because look, I'm a Libra. I don't have time for the games and the BS. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, feel free to share that, but don't insult me because I might insult you back. Right? But we can talk about this thing. And in the meantime, again, I'm gonna try not to judge you. Don't judge me. But let's try to build a better world, because clearly the normal so many of us want to go back to was not working. We have to build something better, something that can withstand uncertainty. All of us. We have to prepare for the uncertain times better than we do. Too many of us live for today, for right now. We don't think about 5 years from now, 10 years from now, right? And we need to. This is all the evidence in the world that we need to. Whether you believe this thing is real or not. Had you prepared for a time like this, it wouldn't matter to you if this thing was real or not. You'd be secluded somewhere with your money and your family and all the food that you needed, because you would have gotten ready for it. Right? All right, you guys. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for your time. This is Top Networkers Group. Your boy Al King bringing this to you live and direct. And, again, thank you for your time. Take care. Be safe. Hug your loved ones. We are in some real serious times here. This is not a game. Thanks again.